When your proximity to retirement is 5 to 10 years out, you need to be fully aware of what you need to be doing before, during, and after you retire. Successful retirement is not by chance. You need to be proactive in your planning. Let's dive into some of the top strategies today. Hey everyone, Chris Heerlein here of REAP Financial, host of Retire Ready TV on News Channel 36, that's KXAN right here in Austin, and host of Wealth Radio every Saturday, 11 a.m. on News Radio KLBJ. Thanks for tuning in with us today. Be sure and hit the subscribe button down below. All right, so what do we got to do before, during, and after retirement to ensure total success? Well, before retirement, let's say you're 5 to 10 years out. Number one, you need to be maximizing your contributions. If you're in your 50s, maybe late 50s, entering into your 60s, chances are you may have the kids off payroll, you've helped them through school, and you're potentially at your highest earning years in your working career. This is the time to max out your contributions to IRAs, 401ks, 403bs. And after you turn 50, they do these things called catch-up contributions, which allows you to stockpile a lot more cash in these accounts and these investments leading up to retirement. A second thing you need to be looking at is assessing your debt. The most important number in retirement is what? I think it's your rate of return. Is it your Social Security amount? Not even close. It's your budget. It's the most important piece. And so getting your budget down, your monthly outflow down to a sustainable level for your portfolio is very important. In high interest debt, even potentially a mortgage, is something that you don't want to carry a lot of that into retirement. It can eat away quickly at that retirement nest egg. Also, you want to be looking at what you're potentially going to be doing in retirement. A lot of people, they start planning on when they're going to retire. They don't plan on what they're going to do when they retire. And in my opinion, that's even more important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about this retirement step, this transition into retirement. This is the most important thing, and I just mentioned it, but I can't reiterate it strongly enough. The B word, the budget. And let's be honest, if you're working and watching this right now, chances are you don't really live on a budget. There's a few of you, but most people don't live on a budget. When you sit down and put together a pre-retirement and a post-retirement budget, many people are surprised at how much they actually spend. You know, most of you just pay the credit card off at the end of every month and get on with it. But see, when you retire, there's only a certain amount of money, and it's got to last as long and hopefully longer than you do. So number one, as you're getting ready to walk into retirement, this transition, is you've got to establish a budget. Number two is you need to have a plan for your health care and Medicare. A lot of you may be considering retiring before 65, and many of you may be able to do that. But you have to have a plan for how to bridge the gap between, let's say, you're 60, 62, and then age 65 when you can get on Medicare. And for a lot of people, we tell them, you need to budget about $900 to $1,100 a month per person before you get on Medicare. Once you get on Medicare, it's relatively affordable and very comprehensive. You need to have a plan for Social Security as well. Social Security, although they took a lot of the lucrative claiming strategies off the table several years back, there still are strategies. One of my favorites is called voluntary suspension. Remember, this is your money. You've been paying into the government's bank for years, and it's time at this stage of retirement to wring every nickel out and get what's rightfully yours. And when you look at Social Security over a 20, 30-year retirement, particularly if you're married, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, and we don't want you leaving a single nickel on the table. Also, you need to get your estate in order. A lot of you may say, Chris, I have a will, I have some power of attorneys, but they were done 30 years ago when the kids were young and we were getting ready to go on a trip, right? When was the last time you updated your estate? As your wealth has grown, as your success has grown, many of you may need to consider a trust. It gives you control of the money when you're 6 feet under. It allows things to go around probate, and you can transfer your wealth to your heirs with ease when you do this properly. So we want to get that bulletproof. Okay, so this is the transition step. Now we're talking about in retirement. What do we do? Number one, you got to stay active. Transitioning into retirement is hard for many people because your identity for the last 35 years has been tied to a business card. You've been in a routine. You get up, you shave every morning, you go to the office, you go to the home office. It's your identity, it's a lot of times your purpose. And when you don't have the business card any longer and you don't have to shave in the morning because you're retired, it's easy to look in the mirror and go, well, who am I? What's my value? So you need to be thinking through how you're gonna stay busy, how you're gonna stay active mentally, physically, and provide value. And that could be as simple as picking up the grandkids throughout the week. It could be volunteering at your church, maybe even getting a side hustle, maybe chasing a passion that you never had time to while you were working. Another thing I want you to consider is long-term care. Now, many of you may be in your 60s going, oh man, that's a long ways out, right? But think about your parents. They're alive still, and you're a baby boomer, they're likely in their 80s and 90s. Many of you may be dealing with an elderly parent right now, and you see that the money goes quick. If I were to ask most of you what your greatest value is, if I gave you two options and I said, leaving money to your kids, number two, not being a burden to your kids, most of you would pick number two. You want to take care of yourself first, and if there's money left, great, but you don't want to be a burden. So establishing a written plan to ensure that your money's going to last as long as you do, and that you'll never be a burden to your heirs in late life, that's a critical point and a critical decision that you need to be making. So there's a lot that goes on before, during, and after retirement. Don't have time to cover all of them today, but I've got a great new report. It's our retirement planning checklist, 23 plus pages chock full of the top 10 things our successful families do to ensure a successful retirement. Email me right now, retire@reapfinancial.com. Retire@reapfinancial.com, and my team will have it on its way to your inbox. Be sure and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next week.